Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Hannah. On this channel, I post a ton of anti-MLM content. I will link a playlist right here. This will be the 70th anti-MLM video I have on that playlist. And if any of that kind of content sounds interesting to you, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, consider liking this video. Leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. All of those things really help to support my channel and I appreciate you so much for doing that. For today's video, these are words I never thought would come out of my mouth, but for you today, I have a Zoom call featuring ARBONNE Huns and their NFL husbands. This is a 30-minute Zoom call that just happened a few days ago. There are 4 separate couples that are featured on this call, and the commonality between all of these couples is that the women are all in ARBONNE and the men are all professional football players. Usually I like to preface these kinds of videos by telling you a little bit of like the purpose behind the call, but I will be so honest with you. I don't even know what the point of this call is. I'm not even saying that to be catty. Like, I genuinely do not know what the entire objective of this call is. It is all over the place. They ask so many different questions. The only thing I think I know about this call is that it's an opportunity call, meaning that the idea is anybody who wants the link gets sent the link. You join the call, you listen to a few people talk about the opportunity, talk about the products, and essentially they're trying to convince you to join. Typically, when these kinds of calls are hosted, they are hosted by people in the top tiers of these companies. And that's because they want people to be like the prime example of what is possible out of these business opportunities. So they want the most successful, the people at the top rank, the people in the top 1% to be the ones on these types of opportunity calls pitching the opportunity, giving their testimony as to what it has done for them and how incredible it is and how their life has changed and all that jazz. But it appears that the only way that these women were chosen to speak on this call was strictly on the basis of their husband being in the NFL. I looked up all of their ranks and some of them are towards the top and some of them are towards the bottom. And I think that you'll see what I mean when I say that it's all over the place. They're not really driving any singular point home with this. So I say we just watch it. I think you'll see what I mean. And I will say that I'm going to let these segments run a little bit longer than I normally do because a lot of this call is just them like sharing their personal experience and there's not really a good interjecting point. So I want to let them speak their piece and then I'll give my commentary.
Without further ado, because you're not here to hear me and about me, but I'm going to just kick it off right here and I'm going to start with Parker and Hunter because they've got their new baby with them. And so just in case the baby starts crying, I don't know where Ace is and his they just are out in California. So like getting adjusted to the time zone and whatnot. But I'm going to start with them. And if you wouldn't just mind sharing, Parker and Hunter, how you were introduced to ARBONNE and kind of what that path looked like for you guys.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm Parker. This is Hunter. This is Ace, our almost 2-month-old. And we were introduced to ARBONNE in 2020. And so a little backstory. So Hunter played with the Chargers, the LA Chargers for 5 years. And so we're both actually from Arkansas. I graduated from the University of Arkansas in 2018. Got my nursing degree there, and then we got married that summer, and I moved out to California and lived here with Hunter for 3 years while he was finishing up his career with the Chargers. And so while I was out here, I got a labor and delivery job as a nurse, and that was like my dream. That was what I always wanted to do. I knew that was kind of like that was my it thing. Like that's what I wanted in life, and I didn't want anything else. And so I thought I had made it, and I kind of got complacent in life. And in comes Shauna and Matt. We actually joined a Bible study and got introduced to them at a church around here in California. And so we started hanging out. I started following Shauna on Instagram, and I realized Shauna had a community out here that I had never seen anything. I had never seen anything like it. And I had, done the whole Southern sorority thing. I had tons of friends in high school. I just had never seen anything like it. And so I started following her, was paying really close attention to what she was doing, but I had no idea that it was ARBONNE, and she never brought it up to me either. And so we were probably friends, like a year, Shauna, before we went to coffee one day and she told me about the ARBONNE opportunity.
Okay, here's what I am gathering based on what I just heard. It seems like she had it all, right? She moved to California, she has her dream job, she has her dream husband, but she is still missing that sense of community. And she saw that in ARBONNE, even if she didn't know it at the time that it was ARBONNE, because a lot of time people who are in MLMs are not very forthcoming and are not very upfront with what company they're with. They just talk about my business, this company in very vague terms. And the purpose for that is so that they will get people coming to them and inquiring, what is it that you're doing? What company are you with? How are you making this money? So all this woman saw from the outside is, hey, Shauna has a really cool community. She's doing all this great stuff. Her life on Instagram looks amazing. I want to be a part of that. And I realize that I'm probably making a lot of assumptions, but it appears to me, based on her testimony, that friendship was maybe a pain point for her. And that's ultimately what sucked her into this business opportunity. And this goes to show that anyone can get sucked into an MLM for a variety of reasons. It's not always the person who's struggling with money or who's in the midst of a midlife crisis or someone who's in dire need of like this magic supplement to cure their illness or something. Sometimes it is as simple as a woman moving to a new city and looking for some new friends. In fact, this is kind of reminding me, a couple of days ago, Jessica Hickson put a question box on her story. If you're not subscribed to Jessica, please go do that. But she asked something along the lines of like, what types of people get into MLMs? Or like, what's a characteristic you need to have to be susceptible to falling into these things, or something along those lines. And I replied back, anyone can get sucked in. Anyone can fall for it. There's obviously some traits and some circumstances that make some people more susceptible to it, but truly anyone can fall for it. Even someone like her who is self-proclaiming to kind of have it all. She had her dream job. She was getting complacent in life. She was like, cool, I've made it. Now what? Even those people can still get sucked in.
And funny enough, I went to that coffee date, came home, signed up to be a consultant, started on the 30-day program, and did not tell Hunter that I signed up to be a consultant because Hunter knows I'm notorious for getting roped into things, and like our credit cards just like on auto, like we're subscriptions. Like he's like, what are we even paying for? And so I didn't tell him because I was like, honestly, I don't know what Arbonne is yet. Like I'm just going to do it because I love Shauna, I trust Shauna, and I want to be a part of this community. Obviously, looking hindsight, Arbonne is not any of those things. And it has truly been the biggest blessing.
Another thing I'm noticing is that she's like, I didn't even know what Arbonne was. I just like Shauna. I was following Shauna. I trust Shauna. And therefore, I joined without doing any research. And I'm reading between the lines a little bit, and I'm making assumptions based on what she's told us in this very short amount of time. But what I'm gathering here is she moved to a new state. She started following Shauna because her life looked pretty cool. And then a year later, Shauna pitched her. To me, looking at this with a critical eye and knowing what I know about the predatory practices of MLMs, what I'm interpreting is Shauna groomed her. Shauna primed her for an entire year before she pitched her Arbonne, and it worked. This is a tactic that I know for a fact is being taught and trained on in MLMs these days, because I've shown training calls on my channel where they're literally telling you to do this. But cold messaging is kind of a thing of the past. People aren't really doing it as much anymore because people are catching on to it. So what are they doing instead? They're playing the long game. This looks like sending casual DMs back and forth, following each other, liking each other's posts, getting to know each other over an extended period of time, so that when the pitch does eventually come, because it always does, it doesn't look as suspicious because they've spent this time building this foundation of trust. And what's so upsetting is you have to wonder if the friendship is even genuine at that point. Can your relationship truly be built on mutual trust and respect if one person only entered into that relationship to get something out of the other person? And of course, I know that I'm making a lot of assumptions, but just based on how she's presenting her own experience of how she got into Arbonne, it sounds like she was lonely, like she wanted some friends, and this Shauna woman preyed on that pain point by taking the long game strategy with her, and it worked.
I never thought that it would bless me and impact our lives as much as it has. And especially now that we, Hunter finished his career with the Chargers and we moved across country. He now plays for the Patriots. Sorry, I'm like talking for you. And then having a baby too, like I'll never forget Kristen, who's on here, and she'll wrap up at the end. But as soon as we found out that we were moving to Boston from California, she was like, you know what? I know Amy Hazelton, who I think is also on this call. We're going to get you plugged in with the Arbonne community in Boston. And then so many other mamas in this community that have given me tips and tricks. I mean, I'm learning as I go here, but it has seriously been the biggest blessing. And I'm sure you can touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it brief, but I think the biggest thing, like she said, yeah, she's kind of spontaneous.
He's too tall.
Kind of spontaneous, and she just kind of came home and was like, hey, I'm gonna do this 30-day thing. I think I signed up to be a consultant too, like, I'm gonna start doing this business. I don't really know what it entails, and so I was pretty skeptical. I have to kind of worry about what I put in my body, and I'm pretty like strict about what I put in my body, because I mean, a lot of things that we have to kind of watch, especially as professional athletes. And, you know, especially being at the highest level, I want to put good stuff in my body. So I was pretty skeptical of that, skeptical of the business, just of all it entailed. But slowly, I think over time, I saw just the daily benefits of, you know, taking the shakes, all the products, everything that we use, just as, you know, just all the products that we use with Arbonne, and then also seeing the community that Parker built. I think that was the biggest thing I think I saw, that I love to see her grow, especially being here. Sometimes, like, I mean, we're working, we have the community with the football team, and you know, sometimes as wives, it can be lost, and you kind of get outside of that, and you don't get the community sometimes. I mean, you do with the wives and the girlfriends, but maybe we're not outside of that. She was able to grow that outside of that, meet some friends, and you know, Arbonne's been tremendous in that community and products, and it's been awesome for us.
And I will say this, I'm not trying to make this long at all, but it just got me thinking. I think the biggest thing too that I've realized is, as wives of professional athletes, I think it's really easy to sometimes get not necessarily overshadowed, because we're our husband's number one fans, but sometimes it's easy to lose track of your purpose, and you can kind of get sucked into, well, yeah, I'm just an NFL wife, but there's so much more that you can be. And I think that Arbonne really brings that out in all of us. And so I think it's so fun that now, because of you, Shauna, introducing Arbonne to me, we have all these other, you know, NFL wives, but now Arbonne business owners that truly get to live out their purpose and be more outside of being an NFL wife and being moms or dog moms. You know, just like we really do get to be and live out such a bigger purpose. So
I know I've said it before, and I will say it again. Cooper is my best friend. He'll do this to me when I'm editing, when I'm sitting at my desk. He'll just come and sit directly in front of me, so I have to like cuddle him. He is the most tolerant cat I have ever known. Zeke could never. You're so sweet, and I love you so much. Okay, but here's my question. What is the purpose of this call? Like, why are we all here? Who is all of this for? Because personally, so far, this is incredibly unrelatable to me. That's wonderful that your husband is under a $37 million contract with the Patriots, and that you're just doing Arbonne for fun because you like the community. But what about the hundreds of other people that are on this call who are doing this because this is their side gig and they're trying to make some money? Or the people who are joining this call to listen in and hear about the opportunity because they're looking for an additional stream of income? I don't know, one side of me is like, okay, good for them for not focusing so hard on the opportunity side of it, right? Because a lot of these calls are all about how much money you can make and all this stuff, and it's like lifestyle claims, income claims. So on one hand, good for her for not promising any of that, and for instead choosing to focus on like, this is a great sense of community, my husband likes the products, that's why we're here. But on the other hand, I can already tell that this call is going to be infuriating for me to watch, because I'm thinking about all the other people that are listening to this who are struggling to make the business work, who aren't really seeing a lot of positive things coming from it, and who are actively losing money. And my heart really goes out to those people because this call is somewhat meaningless to them.
that's awesome.
I love that. No, oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that and that perspective too. And kind of what you said about the community. And I would love for, you know, Brie and Kara, maybe if Brie, if you want to start, and then I'll pass it to Kara, but you guys, obviously you're not, you know, Scott and Nicolette are from California. Like Scott, you know, he plays for the Chargers, like their family's all here, but you know, you two, like you're out here for the season and then you're back home at the off season. And so kind of moving around, will you share a little bit of kind of like what this community of Arbonne is like as well, not only from the business side, but from the product side too, because I think you get two forms of the community when you jump into Arbonne. You get the community side on the products and helping you walk through that, but then you get it on the business. So I don't know, Brie, maybe if you want to start on that, and then you can just kind of transition to how you guys got introduced to Arbonne and what products you started with.
Yeah. So for me, we were out in LA for the LA Chargers this past year. We joined at the beginning of the year. So I moved out there not knowing anyone. And I met Kara and Nicolette, and just kind of keeping close. Like I would see these girls maybe a couple of times a week. And it was so interesting because like from outside looking in, I was just so intrigued by, I don't know. I just keep saying there was something so different about them. And I think the more time I spent with them and talked to them, I quickly learned that, you know, it was Arbonne. Like they're using these products. It's keeping them like level-headed. They're energized. They're healthy. They look great. Kara was pregnant. and just all these things. And it took me maybe a month of just observing and, kind of asking questions before I just was like, forget it. I'm doing whatever they're doing because I wanted to follow their lead. It was, and I think now that I'm kind of on this other side and I've been using products for a month or so, I think my prayer, my hope is that people see that in me. And now they're like, whatever she's doing, I want to be doing. But yeah, I also want to touch base on, sorry, our dog has to make an appearance every time we're on Zoom. But for me, Kara kind of told me, I told her some of my concerns early on, and she was like, I think the best thing for you is to do the 30-day cleanse. So I was like, okay, let's just dive headfirst and do it. And just a little backstory, I have always been very fit and active, professional dancer, all the things. And then I got pregnant, and just going through pregnancy, and I'm now 10 months postpartum. It completely just rocked my world. I thought, I don't know. I just was like, oh, this will be easy breezy. My body's just I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have my abs back and everything's going to be great. And that did not happen. And I struggled with that, just, mentally, physically. It was so hard for me to even almost enjoy my pregnancy journey because I wasn't allowing myself to be okay with my body changing and growing. And then, those first few weeks that you bring this baby home, again, all I could think about was the way I felt. And to be fair, I necessarily wasn't into nutrition and all of that prior to my life now. So it's taken me 10 months of just struggling. And I think, that kind of creeps into marriage and all parts of your life. And I'm 2 weeks in, almost 3 weeks into my 30-day cleanse. And by day 3, I have lost all my bloat. I'm not necessarily doing it for weight loss. So I can't really speak to if I've lost weight or not. I'm not weighing myself, but I've lost my bloat. I've gained my self-confidence back, or I'm starting to gain my self-confidence back that I had, over a year ago before pregnancy and postpartum. My mood is so much better. Having a baby and being a stay-at-home mom, it's easy to feel frustrated and tired and short-fused. And honestly, I don't feel any of that. I'm way more energized. I'm way more clear-headed. And I also struggle. Another part of it is I struggle with headaches and migraines. I get 15, 20 migraines a month. And being on this 30-day cleanse, I haven't had one migraine. So there's just been so much good that's coming out of this. And it's literally just by adding better nutrition and products into my everyday life. And so again, my prayer, my hope is that one life can be changed tonight and join this journey, because I feel like I'm living in just a completely different body, and it's so cool.
Okay, what she's referencing here is the ARBONNE's 30 Days to Healthy Living program. My understanding of this is that this is the big ticket item. This is the main first thing that people will buy when they join ARBONNE. This is the big thing that they recommend. This is what everyone gets started with, basically. This is not a starter pack or a starter kit that you have to buy when you join ARBONNE, but what it seems like is it's kind of implied. Okay, you're joining ARBONNE, now you need to start using the products and promoting them and kick off your health journey and kick off your ARBONNE business all at the same time and take to social media to talk about it and post about it. This is a 30-day program that is somewhat customizable depending on which products you put in it, but it's a $460 program, or you can get it for $276 if you join as a preferred client or if you join the business opportunity. And some of the products that are included in this are detox teas, protein powder, energy fizz sticks, fiber, green powder, things of that nature. You get to kind of pick and choose your flavors and your products. But as she kind of talked about, the idea is that this is a detox or a reset, and using all of these products at the same time is going to fix your health forever. Here is my issue. Her whole angle is ARBONNE is helping me get my body back after having a baby, which is a very predatory statement to make. As we know, every woman's postpartum journey is completely different, and it comes with an entire array of mental and physical challenges. A lot of women suffer from anxiety and depression. A lot of women experience body dysmorphia. A lot of women just have a hard time in general adjusting to life with a newborn while simultaneously healing their bodies from a very distressing event. This is an incredible pain point for most women, and claiming that fizz sticks and detox teas are helping her body snap back is very, very damaging. First of all, it's sending the message that a woman's body after birth isn't beautiful anymore, and that it needs to be altered or returned to a more beautiful size and shape, and that in itself is a horrendous idea to be reinforcing. But secondly, making the claims that Arbonne products have helped her achieve that is completely unethical, and it's also against the company's policy. And you know what? If we give her the benefit of the doubt, let's assume that she really is seeing results of some kind. Who's to say that that's not because she's just putting more of an emphasis on her overall health and nutrition now? She even said it herself. She wasn't really into nutrition before she joined Arbonne, and now she is. That's like somebody who will start training for a marathon and start taking a magic diet pill on the same day. And then a month later, they find out that they've lost fat and they've gained muscle. And they're like, oh yeah, it's the magic diet pill. Not at all that I'm running several miles a day. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't draw any conclusions that these products, these supplements are working all of the wonders in your life and you're disregarding the other healthy habits that you've also adopted. Let me be clear that you do not need to join Arbonne, or any MLM for that matter, to have a stronger focus on your health and nutrition. You do not need to join Arbonne to start using supplements. You do not need to join Monat if you want better hair. You do not need to join Beachbody if you want to start exercising. You don't need to join Young Living if you want to start using oils. Any of those things can be a goal of yours. And guess what? You can achieve those goals without supporting a predatory business model.
Wow, that is huge. And thank you for being open and vulnerable, because I think so many times, regardless of the stage of life that we're in, you know, surrounding kids, maybe it doesn't even have to do with kids at all. Maybe, you know, maybe you've always been in great shape, but you're turning the corner and you're getting a little bit older, you know, whatever stage of life that you're in, there's always struggles. And so thank you for sharing that and just sharing what kind of life has looked like on the other side, because I do think sometimes it's so hard from the outside looking in to really understand it. And we do as best as we can from the inside looking out to explain it. But just hearing different people's experience, again, that's why we're doing this tonight and why we're sharing. So Kara and Ty, I'll pass it over to you, and I would love to just kind of hear your story and, you know, obviously, and I want all the guys to touch on this too, but kind of what you look for in products and what maybe some things that stood out to you about Arbonne and incorporating that into your lifestyle. Obviously, you know, Kara, maybe share a little bit of your background, you know, being a nurse, and then obviously Ty, your professional athlete background as well.
Yeah, so like Shauna said, I've been a trauma nurse for 3 years now, and in this season of life, we just had our first baby girl. She's 3 months now, and I'm able to be there and be present with her in this season of life, and able to take a break from nursing as well. But with how I kind of got into Arbonne, Parker introduced me to the fizz, and it was kind of over once I tried the fizz. I fell in love with the products. And then I started sharing them and recommending them, you know, without, you know, the side hustle of getting paid. And Parker reached out and she's like, you know, you might as well make an extra whatever, make some extra cash, get your nails done, go get groceries while you're sharing your, you know, what you put in your body. I was like, okay, sweet. Yeah, why not? I'll do it.
Again, I feel like I have to keep being the voice of reason here and reminding people that these women are married to NFL players and they are making an unimaginable amount of money. So honestly, for her to be like, oh, I just figured why not? I would join Arbonne to, you know, have some extra money to go get my nails done or cover our grocery bill. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it makes my eyes roll as far back in my head as they will go. And this might be distasteful for me to say, but your husband is a professional football player and you are a trauma nurse. You're not hurting for money, let's be honest. So what is this whole, like, I joined Arbonne to cover our grocery bill nonsense? It seems like she's a little bit out of touch maybe with the other people that are on this call. And it is becoming abundantly clear to me that I don't think that these women understand the industry of multi-level marketing very well. And I don't think they really get that most people don't make any money from these things. It sounds like they're kind of just regurgitating the selling points that they've heard other people talk about. Oh, I just wanted it for a sense of community. community. Oh, I just want it for a little extra money for groceries. And like, that's fine. Those are valid reasons. But this group of speakers in particular have a very unusual and unrelatable circumstance where it's kind of well known to everybody watching that you make good money as a couple. It's not a secret in the United States that NFL players are paid insanely well. We're talking millions of dollars a year, more money than the average person can even comprehend. And honestly, that is a whole other can of worms that I'm not going to open right now, but people tend to have a pretty strong opinion on the fact that professional athletes make way more money than, say, like first responders, surgeons, lawyers, educators. There really is something to be said for how our society values and compensates professional athletes. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that when they're talking, everyone watching understands that they are in a position that most people cannot relate to. And you know what? That's fine. Good for them. I'm sure that their husbands are talented and they've worked very hard to get where they are today. I'm not knocking any of that, but it's very interesting to me that she's taking this angle of like, I have a newborn at home and I've been able to step away from my nursing job for a little bit and I have ARBONNE to help cover some bills. But she's completely disregarding the fact that like her and her husband are not in a typical American financial situation and that her husband can most likely support her through this time, right? It's like she's kind of ignoring that piece of it, but as the viewer, it's like, how can you ignore that piece of it? How can you say that ARBONNE is what is giving you this time off and what is covering some bills when all of us here know that you're doing just fine financially otherwise? It's just adding this entire extra layer, this extra dynamic that I have not seen before on an MLM Zoom call, and it's very fascinating to watch.
And so then that's how I got into starting my ARBONNE business as well. And I think it rubbed off on him because now he is hooked on the fizz and the protein as well. You make like a shake every day, don't you?
No, I do the greens and the fizz every day and all that stuff. I mean, because I use ladder supplements for a good bit. And then when she was ordering the greens, I was like, I'm not just going to keep paying for 2 of them. So we just started using those. And then I ended up liking the ARBONNE more.
Yeah. That's huge. Especially with greens, right? Because greens are like, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, am I drinking like ground up grass or what is this? So no, that's really huge. I love that. Okay. And I think probably the common theme, let's do a show of hands from the gals. Like, how many of you noticed, like, you brought your products home, you started using them, like the guys were like, oh, what is this? And then all of a sudden everything started disappearing. Yeah. Okay. And so I'll pass it over. I think I feel like the biggest offender of that was probably Scott. So I'm going to pass it over. I'm going to pass it over to Nicolette and Scott because I feel like, I don't know, maybe I should open my mouth and I shouldn't have spilled the beans of what Nicolette says, but no, I'm kidding. But I'd love to hear from your guys' perspective, kind of what your go-tos are. You guys travel a ton, which is like, that a lot of people think that you can't live a healthy lifestyle and that you can't incorporate healthy habits if you're traveling a lot. So I would love to hear from you guys. Like, you're like I like live vicariously through your travels. So like, what does ARBONNE look like when you're traveling and what do you got? Like, what are your staples?
Yeah. So I'll go first. First off, Scott and I did the 30 Days to Healthy Living in 2020. So when quarantine hit, it was also a year before our wedding. We're like, okay, we're going to hit this stuff. We can either sit on the couch or we can go out there and exercise and get fit. And Parker and Hunter and Shauna as well were posting a lot about it. I'm like, this is the perfect time to jump in. And it was a great opportunity for us to kind of focus in on our bodies. But also my favorite part about the program is the balance. So like Shauna's saying, we've been traveling a lot, which is awesome. And we're grateful to do so. But the program allows this balance and you can't be hard on yourself. If you're traveling 3 weekends out of the month, maybe you're going to have that 1 cup of coffee on a Sunday, or you know what, you're going to go for that burger and that's okay. Like, that's the best part about this is you can have that balance. And then
I'm sorry, but is she demonizing coffee? What? She just phrased that like having a cup of coffee is a cheat. And I'm assuming that's probably because when you're taking ARBONNE supplements, they're expecting that you're not drinking coffee because you have your fizz, your energy fizz sticks. They're better than coffee, that kind of thing. But here's another great opportunity to remind ourselves that you do not need an MLM to make healthier choices and develop better habits. She's claiming that her motivation to start ARBONNE is because she wanted to get fit for her wedding. And who's gonna tell her that fizz sticks really aren't the path to health?
Within that, these products are so travel easy. Like all the stick packs, hydration from the True Sport line is our favorite. It's a great way to get our electrolytes in, whether we're going out to the bars or hitting the gym. Also the fizz, it's our favorite. Every time I'm out with friends, I always have fizz. When we go to game days, my bag is packed with fizz and everyone's like, ooh, can I have one? Because I know it's so good and it's the best thing for energy. The gut health has been a lifesaver for me. It's just a great like staple in our diet, and it's awesome to bring it with us because traveling can be difficult on your gut. So I love bringing that along. And then also the Skin Elixir is a great product to bring. So all these stick packets are my favorite to travel with. And then the best thing that Arbonne has as well is for the protein powders, they have individual packets. So you can bring them in the individual servings. And if you buy almond milk, if you have a refrigerator where you're staying and like a shaker cup, it's an awesome way to get quick protein for him too. We're always eating so many meals, or at least he is after dinner. Where's the protein shake or where's a peanut butter jelly sandwich? So that's kind of like an overarching about the products and how it can fit into your lifestyle and how we've kind of adapted it. And then Scott was just going to touch on a few more products he enjoys.
I am, all in on the True Sport line. I love the workout fuel. It's like loaded in all the good vitamins you need, A, B, C, D, L, M, N, O, P. All of them, and it's great. And then, like Shauna said, things start disappearing. I drink like 5 hydrations a day because I just suck them down like water, and they're freaking awesome, and I love them.
He just said he drinks 5 of the True Sport hydrations a day. And the website says do not exceed the recommended daily intake of 1 stick pack per day. So that's great. Excellent health advice. Thank you for that.
And then I haven't tried the muscle, what's it called?
Recovery.
The muscle recovery yet, because I actually didn't know it existed until today. So Nicolette and I actually ordered like 3 boxes on the way over here. So I'm excited to try that, and I can keep you posted if you want. But we love it. Arbonne's been great for our family, just the 2 of us. But we kind of
it's not dog safe, but our dog loves it too.
We've kind of just like implemented it into our daily regimen. So we're always looking for like recipes for healthy meals that we can eat around the house. But like she said, sometimes like a nice burger is good, but to balance it back out, we always come back with some really good recipes that we found out. So if you ever need any, hit us up.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, Nicolette is the queen of the recipes, like anything with the protein, obviously, that we can use that for baking too. And I'm like always on Nicolette's stories, like what's she making? We just launched banana pancake protein. I used the whole bag just baking, and I've like been watching Nicolette, and I'm like, okay, now she's doing this. I got to go over and do this. So yeah, you are the queen of the recipes. So follow Nicolette for that. Okay, now I have to pass it over to Matt, because Matt did just announce that he is doing the 30 days, and I think you might be on like day 2-ish or 3-ish. But what I love about it is that you like put the challenge out to everybody, and I think you dragged Ty into it too. And so give me a little bit, Matt, of what you're noticing so far, like what, obviously, you're it's in the house because of Brie, and that's how you found out about it. But give us a little bit of scoop on the last couple of days of the 30 day.
Yeah. So, kind of leading up to, the last few weeks of the season, Brie started implementing some Arbonne into the house and bringing, cookies from the little cookie bake parties you guys have on like a Thursday night. And the cookies are great. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in Arbonne, because I got a massive sweet tooth, and the fact that you guys were baking these healthy cookies was an awesome thing. So shout out to you guys for hosting those cookie parties on the weekdays for us to enjoy when you guys got home. But, right when the season ended, I like try to reset myself nutritionally, get some time to rest the body from the season. But me and Ty are workout warriors, so the grind never stops. So I told him, hey, my mission this off season is to get jacked, man. I'm getting shredded. So I started like intermittent fasting early January after the season, and then stopped putting any sweeteners or sugars or creamers in my coffee. So I was going straight black, and then eventually Brie just kept saying, "Hey, you need to try the fizz, you need to try the teas, and all that kind of stuff." And I've never really been a big tea guy, so just kind of shrugged it off for a while. And then so starting yesterday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this 30-day challenge because I want to support my wife. And I think that's the coolest thing about this is I've seen how much joy it brings her and how much energy she's had this past, few weeks and just a new spark of being involved with the company and having this community. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to cut out, since you cut out coffee, about 3 or 4 weeks ago and just started the fizz and tea, I'm going to give up one of my staples to join in on this challenge. And that's when I gave Ty a little shout out and try to get some other guys involved, because I feel like if we as husbands or boyfriends or whatever, if we can support, our wives and girlfriends in this mission, I think it just helps elevate them. And it brings just a kind of cool dynamic in the household.
I mean, I've got to give props to these guys for actually getting on a Zoom call and claiming that they use ARBONNE for their off-season nutrition. How much back and forth convincing from their wives do you think that this took? I need to know. And honestly, I don't even know what to make of this call at this point. Because now it seems like the objective is to show that these men use the supplements, or that men are supporting their wives in their business opportunity, or like what is going on? At this point, it's kind of reminiscent of the Men of Monate Zoom call that I covered a couple weeks ago, where it's like, look at my model husband who supports me in all of the ways. And your husband should be like this too. He should want you to be in an MLM too. And I feel like we're going down that path here a little bit. I don't know. I'm still just like kind of confused at what we're doing here.
So for the past 2 days, no coffee, just been doing tea and the fizz. I really like it. And then of course, I love the protein powder and just the ability to bake with it and make brownies or cookies or pancakes, whatever the case may be. And so it's been great so far. So 2 days strong. What I got, like 27 more days left. It's the shortest month of the year. So that's why I chose it. But all is good and we're having fun with it.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, good luck. We're cheering you on. I know you've been sharing a lot on your stories. So you guys, if you're not following all these guys already, which you probably are, which is why you're on this call. But if you're not, go check them out and see what they're doing. Okay. Let's do, Kristen's going to wrap up here in the next minute, but I want to do a little like round table here. If everybody would just go around and just kind of, and this was not on the planned question. So I'm throwing you, but if you could just describe like all of ARBONNE. So between the products, the business, the community, kind of all of it into like a few words or a sentence, what would that be for each of you guys? And whoever wants to start can start. Whoever's ready.
I'm ready. I would say impact, because truly like the impact it's had on my life and the ripple effect that it has on other people's lives, I just didn't know anything like this existed. And so the fact that we can continue to make an impact, and especially with the platforms that we've all been blessed with. And I think it's so fun to show people that everyone has an impact and everyone has a platform, just on a different level or on a different scale. Whether that's, through a Bible study, whether that's through, if you're a teacher in the school that you work in, whether you're a nurse and you're working in the hospital, like wherever you work, whatever you do, whatever you're passionate about, you have an impact and a platform to use. And I think it's so fun that we get to show people that. Yeah.
Ah, there it is. This is what I was waiting for one of them to say. We can use our platforms as NFL wives to help our ARBONNE businesses. This woman has almost 32,000 followers on Instagram. That's a pretty huge platform, and that is a lot of people that could potentially be convinced to buy the products to join her team. And that definitely gives her an upper hand when it comes to being successful in this kind of business model. She's also advising, like, I have this platform of being an NFL wife, but whatever your platform looks like, that'll work too. Your personal relationships, your workplace relationships, your friends. You can use any of those people to leverage your ARBONNE business. That's what she's saying, and it's kind of gross. It's like what we talked about earlier about manipulating your relationships for a financial gain. And this right here is sending the message that everyone in your life is to be looked at as a dollar sign and an opportunity. And that's what being in an MLM does to you. Now, rather than just seeing your friends and family as your friends and family and your support system, You're now looking at those people through this lens of like, how much more money can I make if I get them on my team? Or how much commission can I make off of them if they purchase these products from me? And I don't know about you, but I love the fact that I don't rely on the people that I know to make money. I love having that boundary. I love just having my friends be my friends and not like my business partners or someone in my downline. And this might be harsh of me to say, but it's almost like when your friend joins an MLM, that relationship with them is never going to be the same, at least for the time that they're in the MLM. This kind of business opportunity creates weird relationships and weird boundaries with people that you never had before. And unfortunately, sometimes relationships have the potential to be sacrificed because of it.
For me, I would say it's a blessing. And it's a blessing in many ways. So I think for us, like we talked about, it was a blessing. We gained community from it. I think for some people, it's the blessing financially. It helps people financially. And then really thirdly, it's a blessing nutritionally and in your body. You get to take care of your body with some of the best products. So there's three things right there that it's just a huge blessing that can impact a lot of lives.
Using the term blessing in this context is a perfect example of faith manipulation. The definition of the word blessing is God's favor and protection. And the use of that word in this context implies that God himself has blessed their family with this opportunity. And like he said, for them, the blessing has been this sense of community, but for other people, that blessing can be health and wealth. It's a subtle example of faith manipulation, but it's still an example nonetheless. Faith manipulation essentially means to leverage a person's relationship with God or their belief system to influence their actions or their decisions. In this case, it's to claim that this opportunity is a gift from God that he has given to you. And God wants you to be involved with this because it's going to bless your life. And to people listening to him talking about it this way, they can receive that as like, oh, God endorses this. So I just need to have faith. I just need to believe, put my trust in God, and everything will work out for me in this business. MLMs in general often include this component of faith to detract from the fact that these schemes don't work out for most people. It disregards the law of supply and demand. It disregards statistics. It disregards how the scheme functions. And it encourages people to simply rely on faith and hope that this business will work out for them if they just believe hard enough, rather than paying attention to the evidence showing us that these schemes don't work out for most people and that less than 1% of people are successful. It's almost like we can't really convince people that this is a good idea to be involved in if we just give them the facts, but we might be able to convince people that they want to be involved with this if we tell them that God wants them to, and we manipulate their relationship with God and their spirituality.
I'm going to choose the word support. I just feel a lot of support from my team, from the women that I've never even met. We're on this huge team, thanks to Kristen, and the support from these women and men that use these products and want to be in this community. That's just a really good feeling. Maybe being in a different environment in the workforce, or maybe not even having an environment with the workforce. It's been a really great feeling to feel that support all around.
For me, I would say like people's ability to change. Like when you do this, not only do you change your body, but I know in Nicolette's case, she was working a job that she couldn't stand, and she'd come home and complain about it to me, and I didn't really believe her. But then when she was during COVID and it was work from home, I would like listen in on these team calls, and I was like, wow, like the people you work with are absolutely brutal. So you need to get out of there. And she started doing this, and then like her ability to change just her lifestyle in general was incredible. And like, she's the happiest I've ever seen her. And that's really cool for me to see, because, you know, it just makes everything better for us.
Hello again, the voice of reason. Let's not ignore the fact that she is in a dual income household with somebody who is bringing in an NFL income. And I can imagine that that would allow her some kind of safety net to be able to say, you know what, I hate my job, I'm quitting my job, I'm gonna go full force with this ARBONNE thing. She probably feels pretty safe and secure to make that decision because her life expenses are most likely covered. Is it fair to say that? But not everybody has that luxury. And I feel like it's important to say, I don't think I said this yet in this this video. I am not faulting these people for having money, okay? Good for them. I wish I could be making that much money. Heck yes. I just feel the personal responsibility to play devil's advocate and to speak for the side that can't relate to this. If you are a single person or if you need a dual income household to make ends meet, quitting your job one day to join ARBONNE, where only 3% of people in the company make a livable income, that scenario is not an option that a lot of people feel that they have. And him saying this really does kind of slap us in the face and bring us back to reality here, that she could just make the decision to quit her job one day. But I know I don't really have that choice, and most people don't either, so this testimony right here is not relatable.
Oh, it's getting better and better. Kara, no pressure.
No pressure. I would say for me, like growth or flourish, it's helped me, grow as a person. I think physically and mentally, it's helped me get out of my comfort zone. And I feel like become more of, like you say, leaders are readers, and it's helping me do that in that aspect. And it's just helping me be more present, to be able to serve you more, our baby girl more, and just others more as well.
Amazing.
I think I've seen, a lot more confidence in Kara throughout the whole process. I mean, all you guys have too, probably too, from because when you first meet Kara, she's very shy and laid back and all that. So it's cool to see how much she's grown through it. And I mean, she's actually trying to get on Nicolette's level with the baked goods. So I've been a little fired up about that. She makes all the cookies. So cute. She's coming. And, but we just ate some tonight, but no, it's just been awesome to see how much she's enjoying it and everything. Cause with our jobs are stressful, but Hunter, Q, Matt, we all love our jobs. We love what we do. It's our dream, and you want to see your wives be able to do that too. So it's cool to see them living it too.
Wow. That's huge. Matt and Brie.
For me, I think renew. Like I kind of share with my story. I feel like I've, been given like this new body and this new system that's functioning so differently. And
I'm sorry, I'm just remembering this. She's saying I have this new body, this new system that's functioning so well. But I'm pretty sure they've said a couple times in this call that her and her husband have only been doing the 30 Days to Healthy Living program for like 2 or 3 days at this point. And she's like, I have my pre-baby body back. My system is functioning so much better. And it's like just now clicking to me, like, you've been doing this for 3 days. Maybe we're not getting the whole story or something. But if that is the case, you cannot be making these claims right now if you've been taking these supplements for 3 days.
If it can happen for me, I believe can happen to anybody on this call or anybody. And so, I think if there's even like a tiny bit of you that feels like something's not functioning properly, then definitely take a look at this, because it's 1000% worth it.
In other words, if you have any health ailment of any kind, any at all, ARBONNE will cure you. I've only been using it for 3 days, but just trust me, okay? Yikes.
And I would use the word community. I know Hunter's kind of touched on it a little bit, which is really important. I've noticed, all 4 of us know how important it is to be a part of a team, and kind of the satisfaction and the energy you get from being around guys all the time. And, being a stay-at-home mom or whatever it is, and really just going wherever we go with this career, because it's crazy. You just never know where you're going to end up year to year, or how long you're going to be in one place. And, outside of this might be the first team with the Chargers that Brie really felt like a sense of community. And then on top of it has now had the ARBONNE community. And I think that's really impacted her life. It gives her more, confidence that we talked about. And, I know going through pregnancy, women feel like they lose a part of themselves or lose some identity, and she's really gained the confidence back. And it's taken quite a long time until ARBONNE and the community and the sisterhood that she's grown with, Nicolette and Kara and you girls back in Orange County. It's been incredible. And now she could spread the word to her friends and family, and she's pretty introverted too. So it's like she's like kind of, growing out of her shell, which is incredible. And she's building another community through, the platform she has. And so I think we all know how important a team is. You need that support. You need that encouragement, because sometimes you feel like giving up. But when you have the people that got your back day in and day out, it just helps you get back on track. And this is no different. So that's kind of the word that comes to my mind.
Oh, That's amazing. Wow. Gosh, I'm glad I threw that question in because I think that was the best part of this entire call. If you just hopped on now, like that was amazing. Thank you guys so much for sharing.
Okay, I am gonna end it there. They do continue talking for a few more minutes, but it's a whole bunch of just like, wow, this was amazing. Thank you for sharing. You're so inspirational, blah, blah, blah. And it's also because my computer died in the middle of this recording. And when I powered my computer back up, it was somehow still recording, but it cut out the audio for the last few minutes of the call. So this is all the audio that I have. But I promise you, it was just like 2 or 3 minutes more. You didn't miss much, okay? And here's something that's coming to mind as we're finishing this video. At the beginning, I said, I don't know what the purpose of this call is. Like, what is the relevance here of having specifically NFL husbands and their wives getting together for this opportunity call? Maybe to share the testimony that they use the products, maybe to show that they're supportive of their wives, whatever. But now as I'm thinking about it, and now that I know that this is an opportunity call, in other words, people are watching the call and the hope is that you persuade them to join the company. And honestly, I think that the husbands and the fact that they're in the NFL is a ploy to get people on the call in the first place. That's my conclusion here. Because I mean, think about it. All they really did on this whole call was be like, yeah, I use the products. Yeah, I like them. She bakes me cookies using the protein. It's pretty cool. And personally, I don't feel like they really added any value to the call other than just being like, yeah, the products are pretty cool. Yeah, my wife likes ARBONNE. But you bet your bottom dollar that they were sending around this Zoom link with this graphic and they have NFL players on it. And it's like, you're not going to want to miss this. Join our Zoom. Come and hear about this incredible opportunity. Personally, I feel like it was just a strategy to get people on this call in the first place, to rope them in, to make them sit here, to make them listen to what the opportunity entails. And I think that was the ultimate strategy. I would like to know what you think. And before I end this video, I usually do a comment shout out for my own comment section, but as always, I was also screen recording the chat box from this Zoom call. And not only was I screen recording this, but Blanca was also screen recording this. Her channel is Blanca's Life on YouTube, and her and I were kind of messaging back and forth, and she was like, oh, this is my username. And I was like, this is my username, because of course we use fake names. And I'm gonna blur her name out, but I know this message came from Blanca. And just to troll the Zoom call, she asked, what does your day-to-day look like? What do you do that helps you be successful? And I could not pass up the opportunity because I knew it was Blanca. And so I just responded, building a team really helps. And I just think I'm so funny, okay? I'm cracking myself up over here. And with that, that's all that I have for you for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in my next one real soon.